Okay, so we're live now, and what this is it's an introduction to transformational empathic design, and we're going to do kind of a prototype of this workbook. It's based on the empathic it's the Stanford Stanford Introduction to Design Thinking and Human-Centered Design, and they call it Design Project Zero. So I've taken this and I've modified. I made an online version, and we're going to be testing it out, or actually prototyping it today. So thanks everyone for joining me to test this out. Maybe we can go around and just do introductions. I'm Edwin, Director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy. So I've got a mission of transforming the world, creating a more empathic world, and doing all kinds of different projects around it, and have a website, cultureofempathy.com. We've got hundreds of interviews and online magazines, and doing all kinds of different projects for building empathy, training for empathy, etc. So maybe we could just go around, everyone just introduce themselves. Anybody would like to start?
I'll jump in. This is Julie Vetter, and I'm a Californian. I'm currently living in Paris. My work is inbound marketing, which is a break from traditional marketing in that it seeks to help people rather than interrupt them. So it seems to be well aligned with empathic designs.
Oh, great.
Which I don't know anything about, but I'm looking forward to learning today.
My name is Nile. I'm a web developer, photographer, and videographer in Oakland right now, and self-employed.
And my name is Kirsten Ray. I do paralegal and trademark administration and intellectual property law, and I'm in San Anselmo, California.
Oh, great, thanks. So this is a bit of a test. It's going to be a bit rough. You know, things are. I've been modifying this in a different way. Before we were doing two people interviewing each other. So what we're going to be doing here is we'll be interviewing Nile. And one thing, oh yeah, was the question of what our design challenge was. I initially had mentioned a design challenge around creating a workshop, but I was thinking we could do the challenge around how might we raise the level of empathy at the hub. So does that work, Nile, instead of the workshop challenge?
Okay.
Okay, so I'll set that up.
Just to put out there, there's a project I'm working on. I'm working on a new website for myself, and we're working on developing new landing pages and a new design, but towards really appealing to clients, I guess. So that's something that's also really relevant to me right now, and I'm hoping to apply this process towards that as well.
Well, this design process is called human-centered design, and in some places it's called empathic design, so I tend to like that word, empathic design. And it's an organization that's really leading this is a company called IDEO. They're in Palo Alto, and they've done a lot of work at they're really one of the they're actually one of the most they're kind of the leading design company in the world. And the founder, David Kelly, he also started a design school at Stanford. And they have this process, which actually I'll show it on the screen here, which is what we're going to go through. And hopefully that's coming up. And what this process is you can, if we design something for someone, we want to first start with empathy. We want to empathize with what their needs are and do interviews and gather information about them. And then we want to define what the problem is. And then we want to go into what they call ideate, which is basically brainstorming ideas about how to solve their problem. And then we go into prototype as we take those problems and we create quick, easy, cheap prototypes. And then we take those prototypes and we test it, and that test is another way of getting a chance to empathize with the users that we're designing for, or that we're co-designing with. And what the prototype we're prototyping here is this workbook itself. So this is sort of a test of the workbook. And so yeah, so that's a little bit of an overview. Is there any questions or anything that anyone has before we kind of jump in?
Good for me.
Okay. Yeah, there was also a video, a link that I put. There was a nice introductory video to this overview process. I put that link in. So, okay, then we're going to move on to the page. Let's see, that is page 4. And so here you'll see this is our design challenge. So first we start with a challenge of what our project is. And our challenge is, how might we raise the level of empathy at the Oakland Hub? And Nile, you're a member there, and that's actually where we met. And so what we'll do is I'll do an interview of you, and Julie and Kirsten can take notes below, if you're seeing that place there for interview notes. Maybe I'll just highlight that in red. And so, and you'll want to mute too, because as there's a little mute button for mute microphone above here, and just because if you're typing, we'll hear the typing. So yeah, so I guess we're ready to get started. So, okay, perhaps if you could share a little bit more about yourself, Nile. You started a little bit, but you know, about your age, what your work is, where you live.
So I'm 34. I currently live in Oakland, but in a week I'll be moving back to Mendocino, and I am self-employed, and I'm generally working from home. I usually work on small projects where it's just myself producing the product. Yeah. Do you want me to keep going? Is there a specific area you want me to expand?
Yeah, just in general. And so I was wondering about your experience of empathy at the Hub. That's actually where we met. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if you have any thoughts that come up. If you think about empathy in the Hub, what are kind of some thoughts that come up for you?
Well, connection's the thing that I'm thinking about with the Hub, because that was one of the main reasons I went there, was for networking and to connect with other people and to have interaction in my in my work life, social interaction. And I found that it was kind of hard to break the ice with people. That there were a lot of people there, and of course they're working. So there's like I to talk to people and get conversation going didn't feel very accessible, except in a few instances, like meeting yourself, and the guy at the front desk was very friendly, and a couple people that I interacted with who were very friendly. It was very encouraging. But feel like the kind of insulated from the other people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm hearing that you're feeling insulated from other people. You came in, you met the person at the front desk, and they were friendly. And then I think did you have lunch there too?
Yeah, it was nice. It was on a Friday when they have the free salad and all that. So I was in the kitchen, and that's where I met you and that other lady you were talking to. Oh, sorry, I got a call coming in. Let me kill it. Okay.
Okay, so I was hearing you were coming in there for connection, and it was difficult to have that connection, find that connection the way you wanted it. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. It was. I found a little bit of it, but it was limited.
Mm-hmm. And why is connection important to you?
I feel I like social interaction, and I want to have more of that in my work life, and I feel isolated at home. So that was one of my main reasons to go to the hub. And it's also important towards creating opportunities. So it's possible business opportunities to find work, learning opportunities to exchange knowledge with other people, and whatever else, like social opportunities might come from it as well.
Okay, so how does empathy relate to all this? Like, you're talking about connection, and what's the role of empathy in that, would you say?
I mean, empathy clearly is a way to create connection. And I'm seeing, if there's the potential that if I was to provide empathy to someone else, that it would create a safe situation in which it would build a stronger connection, and even maybe make it attractive for them to want to interact with me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you empathize with others, they'd be more willing to empathize with you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it could be, or at least to connect.
Well, I had invited you over to do some empathic listening, and you came over. I had a little sign up. It said "Free Empathy," and I had invited you over, and you did come over and started, sharing some of your experience about not feeling connected. How is that for you? That experience of coming over and just sharing your experience.
It was a nice opportunity, and I think it helped me to kind of get grounded and connect with my priorities. Like, I was very much in my head and thinking about work and what I had to do that day, and having that conversation with you where you were giving me empathy, I started to think more about the bigger picture and what I want more like long-term and strategically, which was beneficial. I also kind of went back and forth between feeling a little restrained because I was sitting in a public place with surrounded by other people, and I was talking about pretty personal things, and some shyness came up. I guess for fear of people hearing me and judging me. And then I would go to the other end, like, I want to open up and be honest and just talk about this stuff, and who cares about other people's judgments and that kind of thing.
Well, there's a factor there of I was pretty much just listening to you. Would you say there's kind of like a one-way? I'm imagining there might be some vulnerability in that, and so I guess I'm wondering about kind of more of a reciprocal type empathy. Is that where it's like mutual empathy? I mean, mutual listening to each other. Is there anything around that? Any thoughts?
Well, I can imagine how that would build more kind of comfort and security because of that exchange going on, and because I share something and then you would share something, so that the reciprocity makes sense. But I'm also seeing how having it be one way allowed me to really steadily continue down my own path, with where when it's a back and forth and there's the exchange of empathy, then I mean, obviously it's not just one person that has a chance to explore, so it might have not gone as deep in my perspective.
So having that space just for you kind of allowed you to go deeper, is what I'm kind of hearing there. Yeah. So that was one time that you were at the hub. Have you been back? Have you been back other times?
Yeah, I think I've been back twice since then.
And what was your experience there for connection and also for the other kind of needs that you had around, I guess, for your work, right? It was around how you can make connections for work related.
Yeah, right. Well, one time I had set up a meeting with a potential client, and that was nice to meet the person. And then the next time I ran into her again, and we had a nice chat. So I was feeling kind of some rapport, and even a little bit of community developing by going back and seeing people I knew. Mm-hmm. The friendly guy at the front desk was there again. We had a good chat. I remember the second time I was there, I sat down at a pretty busy group of desks and kind of tried to chat with the people around me, and I didn't feel very much warmth. And one of them ended up being like a staff person at the hub, and I was kind of surprised. Like, she's like doing stuff for outreach and structuring things, and I'm like, but she doesn't seem very friendly. So that was a little disappointing, because I definitely was turning on my friendly charm, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I also see, like, I think I'm a little bit hypersensitive there because I'm looking for it so much. So there's a lot of emphasis put for me on the result, and like, okay, what's their response like? What's their body language like? Are they interested in connecting? And so I think it would be easier if I wasn't looking for an outcome.
Oh, okay. So that's it. So you're kind of looking for connection, I'm hearing, and you're feeling that this looking for connection is kind of maybe making you look needy or something like that. And is that kind of what you're saying, or?
Up until the last part, yeah. I mean, not. I don't think it makes me look needy, but I think it puts a pressure on what my expectation of the outcome is, and therefore.
Oh, I see. So kind of more of a casual approach might have created more connection.
Yeah, without expectations specifically.
Oh, without expectations. So not having expectations might create more connection then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and less. I wouldn't go into evaluation mode about it as much.
Okay, so it was like a judgment on your part then, like, oh, people aren't friendly here, so you kind of think maybe that is like a sense of judgment.
Yeah, which it results in disconnection.
I see. Okay, well, what are your general needs, like in your life, for empathy, like empathic connection? Like kind of in a broader, not just the hub, but in a kind of a broader.
My general needs for empathic connection in my life?
Yeah.
Well, definitely when I'm in an uncomfortable situation where I'm experiencing something I dislike, I have a need for empathy from people I'm relating to, and especially if I perceive my experience as being a result of the way that they're treating me or relating to me. And then I want to be heard and seen for this like experience that I'm having. I also I've seen in my work that it's really helpful for me to set up structure and goals and keep track of my achievements, and then when I do, to celebrate, and to have someone else celebrate with me is really effective. So when I complete something, it's really great to have someone else empathize in that success, share the celebration of the success with me, and get kudos from them, or go and do something pleasurable, or and share that experience with someone else.
Okay. So what I'm hearing there is that when you have something positive happen, you'd like to have some people to share that success with, and that if you're is it like if you're having some conflict in the relationship, then you would like to have some empathy around that? Was that what you were saying, the first part?
Yeah, that would be the most acute example, if it's conflict between us. But even if it's not to do with the person immediately there, but to have them give me empathy, I find that very supportive, even if it's a discomfort with a tertiary thing.
Oh, okay. And you'd also had lost some clients. I think you had some anxieties about that. So I'm wondering, is it also for when you're just feeling your own sense of anxieties about things that are happening in your life in general? Is that helpful too?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even hearing someone say it's going to be okay, or you're a good person and you do a good job. Don't worry. That kind of stuff is very reassuring. Reassurance. Yeah.
Okay. And is there any ideas you have about how we might raise the level of empathy at the hub in Oakland? Is there any kind of ideas that pop up around that?
I think about group activities that are intentionally designed around that, things to encourage people to mix and talk to one another. I think the food on Friday idea is a great thing, because the kitchen's a great place to start chatting with people. I haven't participated in other kinds of activities. I know there's like yoga and meditation and things like that, which those are fairly individualistic practices. So things that are geared towards creating interpersonal connection. It would be so wonderful if there was some way of welcoming in new people as they arrive, so that kind of initiating them in and building that connection right off the bat. I think about communities or like where there's a workshop or something like that, and you come in and introduce yourself to everyone and talk a little bit, and people are warm and extending this connection, and what a nice foot that is to start off on.
Oh wow. Well, maybe we could. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, but then then my concern comes up, and I'm like, yeah, but people are here to work. Like, you're not going to get 100 people to stop their work for an hour to come and introduce themselves to you for every new person that walks in. I mean, where's the feasibility in it, right? I start to doubt it.
Okay. Well, maybe we could open it up to if Julie and Kirsten have any questions.
And you guys are on mute, just in case you're talking.
The Google thing tells you too. If you cough, it says you're muted. I thought it was interesting, your observation about, well, twice I heard kitchen, that you had good relationships happen in the kitchen, and that is there a group activity? Is there one on Fridays in the kitchen?
There's like a free salad bar kind of thing, and people are sitting in the kitchen and they chat to one another. So the kitchen's an area where people are not working, so they're more open to that connection.
Yeah, I don't know why. I find that really interesting, because I remember every time in high school we would all laugh because no matter how big the house was, everybody ended up in the kitchen. And so it does seem to be kind of an ideal place to mix. And also I appreciated your observation that meditation and yoga, they're really not as interactive as eating together or cooking together. So that's, they may be they're nice activities to have available, but they're still sort of, I don't want to say self-centered, but, singular. I thought you did a pretty good job of describing, your several times that you'd been and the way that you felt. I didn't have any questions come up right away, so I'll hand it off to Kirsten. Kirsten. Sorry, I put the R in the wrong place when I read it.
I wonder if she's there. Are you there, Kirsten?
She's muted.
Yeah, and the video's frozen on mine.
Uh-oh. I'll mute me. Maybe that'll help.
I'm sending her a message. Edwin, you're on mute too. It looks like you're talking, but I don't understand you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. It looks like she's her picture is totally frozen. It looks like maybe something happened with her computer.
She's I'm messaging with her. Let's see what she says here. She says she got dropped and she's trying to reconnect. Wonder. Do you need to add her again?
She should be able to just join.
Just click the link in the email?
Yeah. Oh, okay, there she left, so hopefully she can join again.
Yeah, she said she got dropped. She's trying to reconnect.
I came up with another comment while we're trying to deal with our computing technical difficulties. This makes me think about how, culturally, there could be people of different age groups, different backgrounds. I know in France, people will go around to everybody's desk and say hello when they come into a space, and that would drive certain Americans crazy. It's just take the time to go see. And Japan would be completely different. So maybe the hub has to have enough of its own culture that it can overcome those, or provide a culture that people understand how to what the culture at the hub is, would make them feel more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a phase where we will go into brainstorming ideas. What we're trying to do in this part is really draw out insights from about what Nile's experience is. So we're kind of wanting to probe into his psyche. Okay. And then, but once we've done that, we're going to have a whole brainstorming section where we'll just start brainstorming kind of ideas. So.
Okay. So besides Edwin's sign over his desk, Nile, was there anybody else and the receptionist, and then there was the unfriendly person? Were there any other encounters you had that were?
Yeah, interestingly, so this potential client that I met with, it hasn't yet turned into a direct work opportunity with her, but she was super friendly and sent me tons of information and has been sending me leads, and it ended up being this really valuable connection. It feels like so far, and just I'm really blown away by how much energy she's put into kind of trying to support my success.
Oh, those nurturing women. So, how did she introduce herself to you?
I think so that we use Hilo as a internal social network at the hub, and I believe that I saw a listing of hers, or maybe she saw one of mine. But I mean, through that, I think she got in touch with me about doing video and web design stuff and wanted to talk to me about how I do that. Can you hear us, Kirsten?
Okay. Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Hi.
Cool. So then we set up a meeting and had a connection out of that. But yeah, as I repeat, I was really impressed and appreciative of how much energy she put into sending me this both information to help develop my networking skills and also giving me feedback. She was in large part the impetus for me prioritizing updating my website and sending me actual business leads. It's like sending me a couple leads a week right now. It's pretty awesome.
So everybody puts their profiles on a internal social network? Is that what Hilo is?
You're invited to when you join, and then you can post. There's these kind of lead-ins that suggest you talk about what you're trying to create, what you're trying to achieve, what you can offer the community. So people post on there about things they want to offer for free, or services they have, skills they have, or what they're seeking if they're looking for help in a certain area.
Okay.
Would you like to ask a question, Kirsten?
I feel like I'm kind of catching up to where we are since I was gone for a little while there.
Lose you.
It was right when Edwin was turning it over to us to for discussion for me and Julie to ask questions and stuff like that. So I lost quite a while back.
Well, it's pretty quick because I was just, we're not supposed to have ideas yet. We're asking Nile for more deeper information. So I just confirmed that the kitchen, he found the kitchen to be the place where connections happened. And then if he had met other additional people who he took to, and he said he met somebody through this internal network. And here we are.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm curious, so when you showed up at the hub, your experience, so it sounded like you had a nice connection with the person at the front desk, but there wasn't really an orientation? Did they do an orientation with new people, or how is that done?
Oh, I very casually, like, there's the kitchen, they've got kombucha, there's conference rooms over there, bathrooms are in the back, like that, you know, that's kind of it, and sign up on Hilo.
Okay.
Which is the internal social network.
Okay. And do you have a sense of how many people are at the hub, like in general? I mean, is there any way, is it a pretty open workspace where you're just kind of, it's a visual sense of who's there?
There's 2 big open plan setups, and then there are private rooms, conference rooms, and some more isolated little nooks. I would guess that, I don't know, probably 100 to 150 people have been there on the times I've visited.
Okay. And you mentioned that there are some other kind of individualistic kinds of activities like yoga and stuff like that. How are those set up? Is that certain regularly scheduled events that people can go to during the regular day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're free to attend, I believe, as part of, you know, being a member there, or your fee that day.
Okay. And with the, you called it Hilo, that's an electronic electronic source for connection and networking? Is that?
Yeah, it's a social network, basically, internal social network. So there's like a bulletin board and private messaging services.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I guess we could move on then to step 2, interpreting needs. So that's, right now it's page 6. Actually, I'm going to insert that, make it into a separate page. So it's page 7 now. And the first thing, what we could do is actually draw. What we're doing here is we're going to just take a few minutes to look through the notes that we have, and actually we can all do that, and see what are really the highlights that we get from the interview and from what Nile said. But we want to start with just taking 2 minutes to draw Nile's face. So if you have a piece of paper, take the paper, and I guess you could draw your own too, Nile.
Okay.
And so we want to just draw that.
Do you guys want me to get more of this straight on?
Nice, yeah. Uh-huh.
Now I need to see myself, huh?
And then we can start going through the notes, and we'll want to, you can see that we have a list in the boxes there. You can add more too. Is what are, a couple, one or two just highlights of what Nile was saying. And actually, Nile, you could do that too, just if you wanted to add something that really stood out for you. And you can just copy and paste something in there and kind of clean it up. Maybe look at the underlying feelings, like how is he feeling, and what is the underlying need that you're seeing that he has. So we'll just take, actually, maybe we'll just take a couple minutes for that, and then have a shared dialogue about what we're seeing. Okay, maybe we could go through it and just dialogue about it, and maybe that'll stimulate some more ideas. Okay, who did number one?
That was mine.
Okay.
So,
you want to share that?
Yeah, so from listening to what Nile was saying, it sounded like he was looking for social interactions and connections by going to the hub. And that seemed to stem from feeling isolated, working at home, and sounded like a need for connection.
Yeah, that was the thing that came up for me too. The strongest was kind of a need for connection.
Mm-hmm.
How is that for you, Nile?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, number 2.
Is that yours, Julie?
Yeah, that was mine. Sorry, I was mean. It was just pretty much the same. That I picked up on that too. So I guess all three of us picked up on the isolation as being an uncomfortable state, and this and hoping that this was going to be a solution for it.
How does that land, Nile?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I see it. I mean, it's very much tied to number 1.
Mm-hmm. Number 3.
That was mine also. It sounded like Niall, you were feeling some limitations in approaching people at the hub, and I'm imagining there was some discomfort and uncertainty around that, and certainly a need for comfort and ease to be able to approach people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd add maybe like feelings of shyness or self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Or insecurity.
Okay, number 4 was mine. So the part I picked up on was that you found empathic listening helpful, and that you enjoyed having the full space to speak into. So it's like that spaciousness, and I was seeing kind of it was like a need for support and to be understood.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the word spaciousness. I'm thinking about like kind of freedom as well, and acceptance.
Okay, so it's a need for acceptance. Or is it a need for acceptance?
I mean, or that I was feeling accepted.
Mm-hmm.
In that empathic environment, I felt some freedom to speak and be authentic without fear of judgment.
Okay, next, number 5.
Wanting to create opportunities for business networking. So I was feeling hopeful and inquisitive to connect and see the possibilities, and optimistic. That's, I guess, aligned with hopeful, and also apprehensive that self-judgment stuff, like, am I good enough, or do these people want to talk to me, or am I, annoying them or wasting their time? And the needs I had were for support and community, security in terms of having sufficient work and income and like continuity, and just connection in terms of networking.
Okay, number 6.
That was mine. That the two of the positive events, other than at your desk, were in the kitchen environment around food. I think the related feeling there is comfort, and to me the needs related to that is a sense of security. You've got your food, so you can relax.
Interesting. I didn't pick up on that.
And Yeah, I think that's universal.
I put down the last two, but I didn't have time to really develop them.
Okay. Would you like to speak about them?
So friendship, I think like need for support and warmth and connection. Feeling. Look at my feelings list here. I guess maybe the let me see. Yeah, so I think there's in friendship there can be joy, exhilaration.
You're kind of this is what you're wanting, kind of what you're needing is this friendship, and that friendship consists of joy and exhilaration. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, yeah, it can be. Yeah, right. The result of finding that. Warmth and community.
These are things that you would like to have at the hub. Is that right? Or it's what you did have?
Well, I felt that starting to develop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I would like more, certainly.
Okay, is there more around that, or want to go on to the learning?
Let's move on. So there's something like in learning, I find it like encouraging and stimulating. I think there's a definitely a need for competence. The feelings are a hard one for me to quantify there. Any suggestions, Kirsten?
I'm curious if it would help me to know. So for learning, this is something that you're valuing, or that you found at the hub, or you were looking at the hub. If I have a context for whether or not you're finding that would help.
So seeking learning.
Okay, seeking learning. Okay. So maybe you're feeling, I think of when you're learning, I think it feels exciting. It probably feels expansive, stimulating, motivating. Maybe a motivation. Is any of that?
Yeah.
True.
I was thinking yearning. Is there a yearning for this? Are you feeling a yearning?
Oh, that's good.
Okay. Great. Nice. So we could move on to the next. We've actually this checking the accuracy. We're kind of doing it all at once. So I'm seeing that we can actually kind of delete that because we're kind of doing it at the same time. This was structured for a different type of interview, like where two people interview each other, so it's needing a little bit of a redesign. Actually, so let's maybe just have a discussion. So from what we saw here, what do we feel is the one real problem that Nile has that really is kind of like the main problem or pain or need statement. I wonder if any thoughts on that?
The big one to me that jumps out is the need for connection and socialization, friendship.
Yeah, that it isn't just a space with a bunch of humans in it. It's a space with a bunch of humans who are relating to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So it says here, like, define one problem, pain, need statement. So what is the pain? It's a feeling a lack of connection? Is it like Nile feels a lack of connection at the hub?
Well, yeah, I think the impetus for going to the hub was because working alone all the time can make you feel like a shut-in.
Yeah. The word that I think of is isolation. I heard Nile use that a few times.
Isolation's the word in my mind too.
Bless you.
Bless you.
I hope you can't catch it from here.
I was going to say, I'm not catching Julie's cold.
Put my slippers on.
I put in Nile feels a lack of connection and feels isolated. I see it feels isolated. Feels isolated. And I don't know if I guess I'm trying to, like, what's the real, if we put that into a problem statement? Yeah.
Specific to the hub, or because the problem statement I think of is Nile feels isolated and a lack of community from working at home or something like that. But if it's but if it's specific to the hub, that changes it a little bit. But
if it's specific to the hub, it's like Nile feels barriers to creating connection and community at the hub or something.
Right. Yeah, that sounds right.
Feels barriers to creating connection and what?
Community.
Okay.
Or yeah, that works. I would say interaction as well, but I think that's obvious with connection.
Okay. Nile feels barriers to creating connection, community, and what was the other one?
Interaction.
Okay. Community and interaction at the hub. Does that capture it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what we want to do is, so we have our problem statement with human-centered design. You find a problem statement, and then we translate that problem statement into a how might we question. And a how might we question kind of gives us, it creates a sense of being able to take it into action, makes it more actionable is the term that they used. So let's see if we translate that into a how might we. So it's how might we support, maybe, and feel free to change this here.
I'm wondering, Edwin, I'm looking now at the example in number 2. So should we include some of my feelings in that problem statement? So
okay.
Feels frustrated and discontented.
Oh, yeah.
So should we identify some of my feelings?
Yeah, you want to write them in there? Just go ahead and.
Well, I was just reading it from the example. So what my feelings.
That's great. Okay. Like right into the problem statement?
Yeah, I'm looking through the list that we made in number 2.
Oh, okay. Is there any that resonate there? Oh, discomfort. Oh.
I want to. Do you guys have any suggestions? I want a word in there in the feelings that also relates to feeling a barrier to creating the like job opportunities and business related opportunities. Because these feelings are, to me, all, especially shyness and isolation, really land for me with more the social aspect of it.
How about career potential?
Mm.
Well, it's not a feeling.
I was going to say,
yeah.
what is the feeling that
Insecure,
is
maybe?
different? Is it? I was going to say insecurity, self-doubt.
Maybe
Lack-
effectiveness,
Or ineffectiveness.
or
Right.
feel ineffectiveness.
lack of confidence.
Mm.
Um, uncertainty. Is there uncertainty?
I like that. Yeah. That works for me.
Okay. So
Okay.
would you want would you also want to include then to creating connection, community, interaction, and business networking opportunities?
For me, the word opportunity alone captures it. Does that work for you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, nice. Okay, so the problem statement is Nile feels discomfort, shyness, uncertainty, and isolation because of barriers to creating connection, community, opportunity, and interaction at the hub. And then if we translate that into how might we, or an actionable statement, is how might we empathically support Nile in creating connection, community, opportunity, and interaction at the hub? Does that resonate with you,
Mm-hmm.
everyone? Okay. So we're going to take that. We're going to move on to the brainstorming. And we put our design challenge here. And so now what we're going to do is take, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes each. If we have a piece of paper, you can, you know, maybe cut it into quadrants, maybe 6 quadrants, something like that. And we're going to just on our own start coming up with just quick brainstorming ideas. And so you can just do rapid brainstorming. The idea here is to go for quantity, not quality. So it can be as wild and crazy as you want. It really helps to sketch them out so they're more visual versus just text, etc. So yeah, so let's get started, and then we'll get together again and share those and kind of brainstorm off of each other. Okay, so that was about 5 minutes for just getting the ball rolling. So what we could do is we could each share our ideas, and we can play off of each other's ideas. Is there anyone who wants to start?
Well, a big one for me right off the bat feels like somehow personifying the electronic bulletin board. Because I kept thinking, you know, what's missing is you've got people in a space, but they're not interacting except electronically and virtually. So, you know, if you could find ways that you're actually encouraging people to interact in person while they're all in that space. And I was kind of thinking of things like, Edwin, I can't quite picture what you had set up, but it sounds like you had a desk or something that showed that you were available to give empathy. So I was thinking more like like a bulletin board of, you know, what are you doing, what do you need, what are you looking for, and that people, I don't know, post pictures or and kind of in following this through, like how do you personify an electronic medium like that? I thought of some improv games that are really effective, like if there was a time, I'm not sure how it would look, but there's this really fun improv game where if you have a group of people, you can say, okay, anyone who has ever been to Africa, and they all go to that corner of the room. Anyone who has ever been on a train goes over to that part of the room. And you just kind of watch, and it's kind of interesting the random things you learn about people. So in a work setting, it might be anybody who does web development over in that corner. You know, so then if I'm looking for web development, I'm like, oh, cool, look at all these people. Anybody who does marketing over there, you know. And then you can find people mix in those groups. It gets people moving. It gets people interacting. It gets people identifying who's doing what. So that was kind of the start of personifying the electronic bulletin board.
Okay, we can play off of that. So it's like improv games. I've seen something. I've seen that exercise. And there's another one, which is there could be like a time where you have like a lunchtime, and it's like get out of your seat, do some action.
Yes.
You can kind of do that, and then there's another one I saw is the tree. Someone stands up. It's like I am a tree, and then the next person comes in and they say I'm like a dog, peeing on the tree.
Right. Yes.
And then the next person comes in is I'm the neighbor, chasing the dog, with my stick away. And then the tree steps out, and then somebody else steps in. So you've got this kind of like improv games just to kind of lighten things up and get people kind of physically interacting.
Exactly. Yeah, and yeah, because I thought about that, like also just the aspect too of movement. I know that Nile relates to movement too, and I think a lot of people do. Like getting up out of your seat, and it's an excuse that gets you up out of your seat and interacting with people.
Yeah, I like the visual nature of the way you describe people breaking off into groups of, either job skills or experiences they've had, and that's something that I think, at least for me, like I would retain that much better. And it's a way of getting a lot of information really quickly.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm on that page. We can also take notes as we go along, the brainstorm page, which is page 10. So I'm writing down improv games, in-person bulletin board. Oh, did you have a picture, Kirsten, that you can share?
Yeah, I've got a lot going on. I came up with a lot of stuff. I don't know that there's a lot that kind of relates to the in-person stuff down here. Yeah, so you say I've got a lot of words and then pictures of people, but they're the people they're all kind of groups, like not individualistic, not in isolation.
So kind of group activities that people are doing.
Right.
Can I see your picture again? It's hard for me to make out. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, is there any more ideas based off of that one? Improv games. There's around the opportunity. So it's like, what are people's work kind of related? So you're kind of seeing who's doing what and how there might be some kind of connections.
Right. Another thought I kind of had similar. And I'm not. I'll just say my notes because then we can brainstorm if there's something. Because another one I had was something like musical chairs, like again, kind of in that idea of getting up and interacting. And again, like I don't know if it's like a set time each week or something like that, where and with the idea that maybe in the musical chairs you're actually get up and move over 2 workstations. Or maybe 2 people are doing that. I'm not sure. Somehow where you're getting up and moving and sitting in somebody else's spot with somebody there to, so okay, what do you do? It's just like quick introductions, somehow mingling, interacting.
So, like speed dating, but...
Yeah, exactly.
So speed opportunity dating. It's like, okay, what's the opportunity that you need? Something about, like, how do we make some kind of a connection about working together or something?
Right.
Like, what do you need? What do I have? What do you need? Maybe something like that.
Right.
So I think three of the ideas that I had, I see kind of similar to this. One was doing collaborative projects. So, maybe some sort of community support things, or helping, like a not one person's individual project, but something that's going to help the hub or help the community or something like that, and people who don't have a connection yet coming in and combining their different skills in order to help out. And then that's a way of getting to know each other and learning about what one another's capabilities are.
Did you draw that? Wondering if you have a... Oh. So what kind of community projects? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know. It would, I guess, given the nature of the hub and how it's geared towards social justice and stuff like that, I would, maybe having a structure where people are enticed to give their time pro bono. Maybe they're rewarded for it by getting passes at the hub, or I don't know how that would work, but or just the people are going to be enticed to do it out of a desire to help, but then offering those services to nonprofits and seeing, I guess, letting nonprofits apply for time, so they would get like time grants. You get 5 hours with 3 different skilled professionals, and and then I don't know if there could be a mechanism of selecting projects or something like that, where community could, the workers could figure out which are the priorities, which projects they want to grant the attention to.
Okay. So it's community projects, combine different skills. It could be around some kind of a social justice, and then there's a time grants in exchange. So you get something in exchange for the time you put in, like members.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, that last part I'm not sure about. If people would do it just from a desire to be altruistic, or if they, if having some compensation would help to motivate it.
Okay, you have more?
Yeah, I think similarly, but exchange of skills, helping one another, and that would be maybe more one-on-one, but and I've seen this to a degree, right, on Hilo, how people post things that they offer and are willing to do, I think, for free to help each other on, and vice versa with people posting what they're looking for. I haven't participated in it, so I'm not sure how that interaction looks, but I like that idea. I see it as a good way of building up rapport and connection and reciprocity and also reputation. It's interesting as I'm thinking about these. Like, a big element that comes into it is some sort of a kind of accountability thing in there, like knowing that, okay, if I go and spend my energy and my time doing this, I'll get some credit and I'll have the opportunity to get that back. So I'm seeing in myself, like, feeling tied to wanting return for the time I invest.
Okay. Is there more? Any ideas around that? Anybody can jump in. Just throw the ideas in if you want to play off of those.
I agree that connecting around a cause or helping really bonds people.
Here's my picture for that one.
Oh, cute.
Okay, keep going. What's any more on your list?
Yeah, so those are 2 out of 5. The other one that I think is along this theme is would be the idea of group classes that are especially geared towards like collaborative learning. So, you know, trainings of some sort, and I think about like classroom activities that I did where I'm just sitting on my desk on my own doing it versus, you know, being put at a round table and working together to solve a problem or learn something. So, you know, specifically structuring things around creating opportunities for interaction. And I think that could be a really cool one for the hub, that, you know, providing kind of capacity building things, but collaboration centered.
Okay, keep going. Others. Oh, it's getting more and more graphic.
I think I'll take a break and let someone else share. And I've got 2 more I'll share.
Yeah, then I'll go. So the first one I have is an empathy circle for new members. So this is my little circle. So that when you come in, that just as I was doing the listening with you, Nile, that there's actually a group of like 3 people to kind of welcome in a new person and do empathic listening, just that new person just gets heard, but by maybe 3 people or something like that. And then that there's maybe an empathy buddy system, so you're kind of matched up with maybe some other new members, and that you kind of can connect, and that you know that these are your empathy buddies that you can kind of connect with initially. So you've got this fixed set of friends that you've kind of agreed to support each other, kind of at least in the first month or 2 or something like that. The other one was like I think built on your project about is it maybe even like we're doing now, but an in-person design project about what each person's needs are. So we're kind of using this process, but a new person comes in and we do an interview with that person and kind of like a design something for them. So that kind of addresses what their needs would be. And it would be a way for a person to feel that, you know, everybody's kind of looking. It kind of combines with the empathic listening.
Edwin, it's great, your idea of kind of putting it in the context of new members kind of becoming empathy buddies, because I had something that was kind of similar, thinking about empathy angels. You know, I think about a lot of school programs now that have peer counseling. You know, the kids are available to support each other, you know, specifically around like bullying and, you know, things like that. And I had this kind of flavor of empathy angels that are just kind of available and who specifically maybe look for opportunities to draw people in or look for opportunities to connect with people in whatever ways, like, you know, and it doesn't have to be intrusive, just very subtle. Either they're at a table like it sounds like you have, or maybe they just sort of like are the librarians of the hub, you know, the empathy librarians, where they walk around, anything you need, you know, how are you doing? You know, just real random kind of non-threatening, but you know, opportunities for people to connect if that's something they're looking for.
Yeah, I love that. Anything you need, you know, just somebody that comes over and is like maybe even the staff or something. It's like, oh, anything you need, just to know that there's somebody that's reaching out.
Right.
To just ask you if there's something. I think that, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that fits with, I had one, have some extroverts on the staff.
Great.
And they'd be perfect for that.
Yeah, what I'm kind of seeing is maybe instead of going around, why don't we just start throwing our ideas that we have into the center here until everyone feels like your ideas have been heard.
I really like the first one Kirsten said about people dividing into groups and finding out, you know, who's in your peer group, and maybe adding to that a little TED Talk kind of component, you know, where maybe there's an opportunity for somebody to give a little pitch of what they do so they can practice and you can learn about them.
That's a great idea.
So an opportunity TED Talk.
Yeah, and then better than a Shark Tank. And then I like the community idea that Nile was talking about too, and I thought about, like, you know, in Zen Buddhism there's always the chores, and some people are assigned to clean up the kitchen or sweep the floor every week, and you get to know people that way.
Ah, yeah.
And I didn't draw any pictures. I somehow totally missed that. So.
Well, these were,
you guys covered mine.
Yeah, these were my pictures. So I had this one here was a design project. So we're all doing a design project with the new member. Then there's the empathy buddy, the listening, kind of one-to-one. Oh, and that's the angels, I think, designed for new members to make it more comfortable and supportive. Yeah. I was looking for something around opportunity, and I was kind of like struggling with that, because it sounds like that's really important. So what is it around opportunity to create that kind of effective opportunity?
Well, the TED Talk one might create opportunity.
Exactly.
Because you realize who's good for your network.
Okay,
is there more? Or are we complete with that? Okay.
In my mom's Buddhist practice, one of the big beliefs they hold about karma is that if you want something, you need to help someone else get it, and by doing that, you sow the karmic seeds to have it come to you. So, like, if I want business opportunity, then to create that in my life, I need to go and help someone create business opportunity, and if they land a really good gig, then that's sow the karmic seeds that I may also get that.
So how would that look? What would kind of a project around that look like?
Well, I think I'm just seeing that as, like, if that's a principle that people would take to heart, then maybe that itself would help out with number 4 that I was talking about, the exchange of skills. You know, but then it takes away the whole need for accountability. It's like just doing it for the sake of helping someone else. I'm going to add that to 4.
Okay, so from all the ideas we have, you know, we've kind of seen how they land. Like, what is the one idea that we could kind of agree on as like a prototype that we would want to actually take and create a prototype? It's a little hard online when you're in person. You know, you get together and you actually create a physical prototype of the thing. Like when I went to IDEO, to the design school, they had the challenge was how do you like address the needs of the people who are waiting in line in a restaurant and kind of make their experience better. So we had a group of 6 or 8 of us. We actually created a restaurant, you know, kind of a mock-up, created the experience, and then had other people come in and kind of experience it. So we would create something, create a simple mock-up. So this is a little harder when we're doing it online. But what is the one project? For me, the one I'm enthused about is the having a design project for new members. So when they come in, that there's like a group that kind of does a little design project for them, like we're doing with you now. And we kind of see what their needs are.
Before we move on, I wanted to throw in, I had 2 more ideas.
Oh, okay.
So one would be just a mixer kind of thing, and I think that ties in with the very first one of Kirsten's idea, but of doing the games. But like the idea that there would be a mixer where people are coming to the hub, but it's not a time for sitting down and working. It's a time for, you know, having a drink or whatever and interacting with one another. Like the goal of it is to get to know each other. And then the idea of doing a picnic, potluck kind of thing, where people are just relaxing and having fun in the sunshine and organically meeting one another and talking about their interests or their work or whatever.
Yeah, and I had a few others to add too.
Okay, great.
I kind of thought of those social, like outside social things too, Nile. I like that. And I also was kind of thinking about specifically in the beginning with new members, having a new member orientation or something like once a month or once a week, so that you're actually, there's a scheduled time where new members can go around and get oriented to the setup, but also meet each other and kind of, you know, create some connections that way, do introductions. And then I also thought about if each month maybe there's 5 new members that sit at a table or something, that, you know, that they're available. They're there to work, but they're available. Maybe there's some identifier of what their skills are or what their work is, and then that is sort of this opportunity for people to like greet new people, see what they do, you know, hopefully create some interactions there, which led me to think of another thing beyond just new people. Maybe there should be a group work area specifically for people who are open to connecting. So I was thinking about this in terms of Nile feeling a little nervous about who can be approached because everybody's there kind of working. But if there's a group area that people are there because they're open to talking, they can still be working, but again, maybe with some sort of like electronic display that can be changed so that, you know, it's like web development, and they can sit and work, but then there's this opportunity, like it's okay to go and approach them and talk to them and stuff like that.
Cool. I like that idea a lot, Kirsten.
I think that covers all of my, gets out all my ideas.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break.
Okay. Any more? Julie, anything?
Everybody pretty much covered mine. The only thing I didn't say yet that I had was group sports, but I don't know, ping pong.
Oh yeah,
But I think the things that people have mentioned already are things that would instigate more. I don't think ping pong is going to create connection. I think that the connection also already has to be started by this more empathetic, welcoming committee and opportunities to get to know who everybody is and what they do.
Like how about a card game, like some kind of an opportunity card game or something, like, hey, let's play, you know, I don't know, something. It's like just like ping pong kind of got me thinking, like something where people get together, they're sitting and they're talking, and somehow a game, a card game that elicits opportunity, like I'll see your, you know, your, I don't know, your need or raise it one or something. I don't know. That's
yeah, you know, I kind of think, Edwin, in that, I kind of think of a game like Go Fish or Old Maid or something where you could actually have people using the cards to identify either a need or a skill that they have somehow. I don't know what the card game would look like, but that, you know, there's some sort of matching and pairing that you can put down, like maybe somebody's like, I'm looking for a web developer, and people are like, well, I see a web developer, but I'm looking for marketing, but then over here we've got somebody that's web development and marketing, and so, you know, something like that.
Yeah, something that when you're done, you've got a project kind of created in the cards. You
right.
know? Wouldn't that would be kind of like, this is what we're going to do. It kind of fits in with that idea of a joint project that you were saying, Nile, right? That you're kind of building a joint project. You're going to work together towards something, but you get to know who the person is and what their needs are.
Yeah.
So okay, let's see. We got the last. Oh, sorry, there's more.
No, I was just going to say I'm drawn to the ones that have an element of fun and play in them.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, especially for creating connection, if people are having a good time and smiling and laughing, I think that's going to help them open up and bond, and it being, you know, a joyful experience, and then it's going to motivate them to do it again next time.
So which ones had fun and play for you?
Well, it sounded like the card game you were just describing, and the games, number one. I think it was number one. Yeah, the improv games. A picnic.
And of all those, which kind of really resonates? Like, of all these ideas, what's really resonating the strongest? The one...
For me?
Yeah.
I think, well, I'm not sure. It's either the picnic or the improv games.
A picnic with improv games?
Okay.
Like going out to Lake Merritt, like we're all going to go out to Lake Merritt or something and have a picnic with improv games, or they have the lunch there. Is it like some improv games like after lunch?
Those are both good ideas. I guess doing it at the hub is more practical, more accessible for people than going somewhere else. I could do a picnic at the hub. Bring a picnic blanket, lay it out on the floor. That's playful.
Nap time is more what sounds good to me.
What we want to do is bring it all down to one prototype that we would actually create. So right now, one thing is coming up is like we have the lunch, which is on Fridays, and after lunch we hold kind of an improv game, like a half hour of improv games, something like that.
Cool. What do you ladies think?
Yeah, I like that. It's because the other thing that I always look for is high chance of success, you know, and for doing something new, it's kind of nice that there's something in place already with the lunches, and so it's kind of this nice easy piece to add just another component, some improv games, get people playing, and have, you know, things could build from there.
Yeah, and people think they're silly, but they do always seem to work.
Yes.
You know? There's a reason why they do them at Club Med, because they just really work. And I have a friend who came from a family of 10, and she always plays silly games at the birthday parties, and it works. We all have a really good time.
Okay, let's say we would have half an hour after lunch to create some kind of improv game. How would we fill that half an hour? Like if we would want to prototype this. The next stage is we've kind of honed in. It sounds like everybody's going for these improv games. So what would we actually do to kind of test it and prototype it? What would that look like? I like the one where it's I'm a tree. That was the one that I've seen that like IDEO has used. I don't know if there's others.
I bet you've got some ideas, Kirsten.
Yeah, there's actually a lot. There's a real easy one to just start off in a circle, and it's called sound ball, and you just throw an imaginary ball with an accompanying sound to someone else in the circle, and then whoever catches it repeats that sound, makes a new sound as they throw the ball to someone else. That person catches it, makes that sound. So you get people kind of out of their heads, and sort of eye contact is really important, and again, some movement. Trying to think what else. on the one of, anyone who's ever done this or anyone who's ever been here. And the thing with that one, too, is that you can have the people playing themselves are making the offers. So let's say I'm there and I can say anyone who's been down the Grand Canyon, because I want to know who else has been down the Grand Canyon. Or, and then everybody, you find who comes with you, and then somebody else can say anyone who's ever played soccer, and everybody goes over there. Anyone who likes picnics, they go over there.
I think that's called Cross the Line. Is that the?
Oh, is that right? Yeah, that could be. I don't remember the name.
And then anyone can throw out whatever their.
Yeah, whatever.
Like, who needs web development?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Who wants more connection at the hub?
Right. Who got empathy today?
Who wants community? Who wants opportunity? So yeah, those kind of.
Trying to think of some other group ones.
I like something that's physical motion because people sit a lot there.
Right.
And how do we get people up to kind of physically move? Because I think for general health it's kind of needed too, and it kind of gets the blood kind of going. So something I've done, I mean, I do dance, but it'd be a little hard to dance there. But it's like physical mirroring. One person, well, how are you feeling? And everybody kind of mirrors it, but there could be something other kind of physical kind of things.
There's another fun one that is similar to I Am a Tree, except there's no words to it, where you have somebody start with a pose, and then it's sort of like a human statue. So somebody takes a pose, something that they can hold for a while, so you're not balancing on one foot or something, and then somebody else that's inspired can come and make a complementary pose to that, and it just builds until everybody there is a part of this sculpture. That's kind of cool because it gets people moving and connecting and playful.
Oh, how about it's like improv game time, so everybody brings those. I mean, everybody's probably got all kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
So we have the space, and people can bring their improv games to it. So we kind of have a cauldron of creativity come in.
Exactly.
I like the idea of giving appreciation too. It may be totally surface level because people don't really know each other, but giving each other appreciation or compliments, and that could be broken into smaller groups, or maybe 4 or 5 people could do that efficiently.
So people break into groups and they say, well, this is what I appreciate about you, and this is what you appreciate, like that, or.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be like, wow, your eyes are really shining today, or great boots, or really beautiful at the way that you spoke to that person, or the advice you gave on this business thing.
Is there a chat share here?
Yeah, it's there's a blue button on the upper left. And then you click that and it opens a window on the right.
Okay. I have a graphic artist here who Nile, I'm glad you said that again because it reminded me of her. She has a goal game, and it might be really useful. She'll actually brand it like with the hub. And it's, she says reward yourself at the end when you've reached the goal. So it's sort of a mind map. But I guess what I'll do is just put the link in here for you so you can check it out. Because she and I find it really rewarding to fill out this, because it's in a mind map format, which is pretty creative, and then 2, when you get to the goal, you reward yourself. So I don't know, that might be something that would be useful as a resource that the hub gives. Because I think the hub needs to sort of set the culture, the tone, You know, by initiating the games and having the maybe extrovert go around and check people's staff member, and the maybe assigning communal chores or even just communal meals if people want to participate in them. And what was it? You guys were just talking about something that made me think of something else. The games. Oh, I'm sorry. The only game I know is one I played at UCLA in the leadership training seminar, where they put us all into groups, and we had to, each group had to decide whether our plane crashed in the desert and would we stay or would we leave. And you had like 20 minutes to fight it out amongst yourselves, and you had to come to a decision. What was interesting was they were walking around observing you, and they were actually looking for who surfaced as the leader, you know, and did people get pushed around to do a decision they didn't want to make, and they talked about it afterwards. I think that's a little like, maybe that's not so comfortable. But it was really interesting because it was based on a true story of a plane that crashed in, I think, Death Valley. And whether the people decided to stay or leave was the difference between life or death. And they were talked into doing what they did by a leader who had a lot of confidence but not a lot of sense. So, sorry, that's my only game. That's maybe not such a great one.
Well, okay, so so this would be, now here's the problem with the online is, well, the next step would be is we would take this and we would actually do it at the hub. You know, maybe take half an hour, kind of do a prototype of it and see how it worked with people. And then we would go through the whole process again, another iteration around this. And then you just keep iterating, you know, keep using this process over and over again until we get it really honed in, creating something that really works. So, so
then would you choose, would you interview me again about how I would be part of this prototype, and you'd interview me again, or would you identify?
Yeah, it would be both. I think it would be, because we're looking at, it's like larger, it's dealing with you within the context of the hub, I guess. I mean, that's a good question. It's like, I mean, the idea is we're wanting to raise the level of empathy at the hub, and we're doing, this is like part of, if you're feeling more supported, I mean, you know, you're feeling connection, community, opportunity, interaction at the hub. Hopefully that's creating a more empathic hub. So I guess we would interview you as well as other participants to keep designing and redesigning this until we really had something in place that really worked. And that's part of it. In terms of design, that's one problem with doing it online is we can't, I mean, it's a step, but we can't, you know, especially, you know, since Julie's in France, it'd be hard to us all get together and do this, but I guess it's like a step in that direction. So the last part here is, okay, our prototype is we're going to create this space at the hub, like after lunch, to have improv games. So how does that work for you? This is number 9, step 9. Nile, how does this idea work for you? We would actually, the thing is, we would actually do it and actually test it, but so we're just kind of playing with the idea, so it's not quite as accurate as, you know.
Yeah, it's exciting to me, and I feel hopeful.
Anything could be improved on the experience?
Which experience?
The improv, half-hour improv experience.
I guess I would want some brainstorming in ways that it could be creating more chances to play, like to talk together, I guess. But I don't, like, I'm looking through the list, and a lot of them are creative and kind of abstract, but and like expressing one's creativity, but I'm wanting more that are gonna create chances for people to talk to one another and well, okay, so I guess I'm thinking about the result that I would want coming out of it is that I would want to be done with the improv's done after half an hour, and then I would want to have connected enough with a handful of people that then we would chat about how much fun it was, or or other stuff that's unrelated, and what projects are we doing, and that by being in that space, I would create connection with people that then would lead to having that sense of community and rapport and comfort.
And I kind of think then of flipping it around, like do the improv first and then lunch.
There you go. That's a great idea.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And then you're not full.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And sorry.
I'm sorry, I just need to interject that I do need to leave pretty soon. So I've got a 12:30 appointment that I need to drive, and I'll have to actually.
Okay. Yeah, we're kind of going over here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that was my feedback. I think maybe just because I'm sick, but yeah, 2 hours is a bit long. I think for brainstorming, I lose my brain.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then we can end it at that. Maybe we could just go around, kind of in conclusion. You could just say what you liked, what you wished, and what if from this experience. Well, I like just testing this out. I wish to be more rigid about the time frame, kind of keeping it more crisp on the time. And so what if next time I kind of have more, I have a stopwatch here, but really stick to it.
I appreciated the materials you sent in advance, like the little video to be able to watch, so I could understand what was going to be happening before we got in. I guess I probably need some nudging in terms of, hey, I sent this to you last week, and really if you want to get the most out of this time and stay within our time, if you come prepared, then we're going to be able to process this within the time frame we had. I liked learning. I liked doing the process, listening to somebody and trying to go deeper on after the first level. What was really behind it. It helped. It was very interesting, to ferret out, okay, what's really behind that, what's really the need, and what are some real solutions. And also the brainstorming, it was definitely richer to have several people coming up with ideas. I see a dog. A cat? Is there a cat behind you?
Cat back there. That's brilliant. I liked the empathy I received and feeling heard, and you guys identifying what my feelings were and my needs. That was really powerful, and it helped me get a deeper understanding of what was there for me and what my priorities were. So I'm coming out of it with some really nice clarity. Yeah, I would wish for myself preparing and going over the materials ahead of time, similar to what Julie said. I didn't allot time for that, and I think I would have got more out of it if I had. What was the other one?
What if? This is step 10, page 15.
Yeah. I like the drawing aspect of this, and I think bringing in the creativity that has is really a powerful way of maybe balancing this between the left and right brain, and even bringing more emphasis to it. And I'd say maybe what if there's more celebration involved in this? That we are like that we're celebrating that we've completed stages or that we get to the end, either by giving appreciation to one another, or yay, way to go team, or beautiful drawing. So on that note, I want to show you my picnic. Can you see it?
Yay, Nile.
Yay, team! Keep going! Beautiful! Woo!
There you go! I also, anything else now?
Go for it.
Okay. So I also liked the materials. I appreciated having them in advance, and did look them over a few times, and it was kind of interesting because I was trying to imagine how those materials would be used in this setting in a Google Hangout. So it was, I enjoyed kind of seeing how that comes together. I do agree. I wish that there had that there was a little more structure to the time, like maybe in the beginning, sort of helping set the expectation of we've got 12 steps to get through, and then have the check-ins periodically, like, okay, we're halfway there, we're on time, or we're not on time, you know, just kind of a better group check-in around time so we can kind of help keep each other accountable. And I guess going back to what Julie said too, I liked the opportunity to have a chance to go deeper. I liked that there was a concrete thing that we were working with that helped provide some focus and structure. My what if is, what if or how does this get translated in from a virtual experience into something concrete? What if there's follow-up? You know, Nile is not going to be living in Oakland, but it's sort of like this, what if there was a way for you guys to test this at the hub, and then we have another meeting and just be like, okay, how'd it go? And then at that point, being able to celebrate the accomplishment or tweak the solution or whatever.
Okay, great. So yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was great feedback. Very helpful. So yeah, I'm going to be continuing doing this at the hub. So I'm putting together a design team to use this process, but in person. There's a 7-week course that goes through this process, like really in depth. So I'm going to be setting up a team for another group in October. So all this material is being documented, it's being recorded, so we're going to be building on it. So there is a next step to this. So with that, I'm going to keep us on time as much as not on time. We're over time, but to make sure to bring it to a close. So maybe we can have a wild appreciation moment, like yay! Yay! Really loud! More appreciation!
Yeah, and I could do a specific appreciation. Edwin, I appreciate you putting this out there and inviting us to join you in creating this, and that was fun. Thanks for...
Yay!
Nile, thank you for being here.
Nile, thank you! And to our partners, Kirsten and Julie, yay! Thank you for taking
Julie, thanks for being here when you're sick, and Kirsten, for taking time out of your work day. Really appreciate it.
All right, you guys.